I am so honored and excited to have a dear friend, Elizabeth Moraes, with us today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me join you here on your show. I'm so excited.
I am so excited to have you share all of the goodness that you bring to the table with these listeners because it's going to be so helpful. But as I mentioned in the intro of our podcast, you work with clients, helping them with their executive presence and message delivery. And I'd love for you to share more about what led you to this work. You have such a beautiful story. And for those who want to go read it, you'll have to go check it out on her website. But Elizabeth, kind of give us the highlight reel of all of that.
Of course. And, it's a 30-year career in the making. So I will give you the highlight reel, definitely. So the short version is that I'm a former professional dancer. I've taught and choreographed and performed all over the world. And in that career, I also did a lot of research in my graduate work on developing a way to help professional performers, whether they're dancers or actors, be able to connect more authentically, more powerfully, and in a very engaging way with their audience. So that when they're in the moment, they feel so immersed in that moment and so true to themselves and in a place where they feel where they can let go of control.
Yeah.
And can access anything from their experiences, from their imagination, to bring it authentically forward to then really connect with an audience and take them on a journey.
Oh, I love that.
And so in that, I have then now transferred that into the business world to help, because so many, you know this, we've really transitioned into being on camera more. We're on Zoom, we're doing more video in social media and all, and doing more video messaging to the corporations internally and externally.
Very much.
And so with that, most of these people, the general public, does not have camera training or understanding how to really connect with an audience in this mode. Yeah. And so I thought, why not transition and transfer that knowledge that I've created with these professional performers and with myself to be able to make my performing abilities so much more powerful? Why not transition that to the business world?
Oh, I love that. And especially
myself now.
Oh, absolutely. And, this post-COVID world, it's been so interesting for me to see, from my business perspective, from my husband's business, and, he's in public accounting, but, we got so used to all the Zoom meetings and all of the, camera work, that we did during COVID. But even post-COVID, we're still on Zoom quite a bit. Yes, the in-person stuff is still there for sure, but there's still a lot more meetings, on Zoom. And it is hard. And I know that you've done some trainings on this as well, too, but it is hard to get people captured in and engaging in a video presence, especially when you're facilitating meetings and that kind of thing. So I think this line of work, what you're doing is it's so helpful to people, even now, probably more so than ever. Again, just trying to keep audiences and team members engaged with whatever it is that these executives are trying to communicate to them.
Most definitely, because now, like you're saying, we're still on camera via Zoom meetings, because it is also, we've learned, can be more efficient and effective, because we're not running back and forth to meetings and all. We can go, okay, let's have a quick Zoom meeting for 15 minutes, or every hour on the hour if we need to, for different departments and all. We can get so much more done, but we can no longer rely on our personal presence when we're in person. Right. We have to, we can, when we're in person, we can judge people's reactions and responses and then respond accordingly with, okay, I need to speak up louder, or I need to move my body a little bit more. Whereas we don't have that when we're on camera. But now that we are more on camera, we have to know how to be able to do that intuitively, so that you're not, your audience isn't sitting there going, okay, or you're not able to communicate as effectively, or to get people really moving as you would if you were in person. So I think this is a great opportunity to expand one's repertoire of how to communicate and in different situations and settings.
Absolutely. Well, this brings me to my next question. I know so many of us have heard the term executive presence. We've heard it used in trainings. We've heard people talk about it online, but I think most people tend to think of executive presence as more of those visual attributes, visually. How do you look? How are you showing up? How do you present yourself? But I want you to talk to me about how executive presence shows up in communication as well too. It's not just how you look, it's what you say. So talk to us about what that looks like.
Most definitely. Yes. A huge part is how you appear and how how you take up space and what your clothing looks like. Are you sharp and put together? Are you, is your hygiene good and all of that? I feel like the biggest part of executive presence is the energy that you bring forward, the confidence, that inner knowing of what you bring to the table. And it's in that then people then learn to trust you, learn to say, okay, they seem like they have a knowledge base. They can go deep with their expertise, but they can also go broadly with how they communicate to different types of people in different industries and the like. So I feel like so they have the competence, but they also have the confidence that I can go, I think I feel like I can trust them, and they're going to take me to a place that I want to go. I feel like I can rely on them. And so it's this inner knowing, it's this inner ease and an inner awareness of the situation and an emotional intelligence as well, that you will respond, not react.
Yeah.
But it's really that energy of knowing.
Yeah.
And relaxation.
That takes time to develop.
Oh, it totally takes time.
Elizabeth and I were talking before we hit the record button. I remember my first Facebook Live video, which was a total train wreck.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm thinking about my first one too. It was
we've all had the first. I think Brene Brown she calls it I won't use the exact words that she used, but the freaking first times, the FFFs, the FFTs, the freaking first time. And but we all have to have them. We've all got to have that first time to just do it. I remember the first Facebook Live that I did. I can't remember the topic that I was speaking about. It doesn't really matter. I mean, I know that I knew my stuff. I mean, I have 25 years of experience. I know what I'm talking about.
Expert.
And I am telling you, when I pushed that, the live button, I broke out in hives. I got red spots. I started to glisten on my forehead, and then I sweat profusely when I get really nervous. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm just going to say what I have to say. And then I'm going to turn this puppy off and we're going to be done. And I don't know if I'm ever going to do this again.
Right.
And I remember debriefing with a dear friend of mine after that, because I was really, I was thinking about, what is everybody going to be thinking of me? Am I really an expert to be coming on and talking about these things? I later found out that was called imposter syndrome and whatnot. But I mean, that really set in. And I had 25 years of professional work experience in communications, public affairs, marketing, and at very high level positions. And I still felt that way, but I will say this much. A dear friend of mine was just like, okay, you have to keep going, because you've just got to push through it and keep doing it, because the more that you do it, the more comfortable and confident that you'll become.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to say, is it all comes through preparation and practice, and allowing yourself to make mistakes, to look from your perspective, look stupid or not sound good, and keep practicing. And from that is, like you just said, that's where your confidence is going to come from. Your confidence does not come from your comfort zone. It comes from your getting out of your comfort zone and proving to yourself, oh, I did it, or giving yourself grace and a pat on your back that, hey, at least I did it. I may not have shown up as well as I would have liked to, but at least I did it. Let me try it again with these different this different and new awareness about myself, that when I get into this situation, this is what can happen.
Right.
What can I do to prepare so I don't?
I love that.
And the thing is, when we get on camera, like yourself, you can be an amazing speaker. You can have so much experience and be in these high level positions. But when the camera turns on, all these innate fears that we didn't know we had pop up, because I mean, it goes back generations, I mean, thousands of years to when we were living in caves. There's this fear of being stared at.
Yeah.
And the camera doesn't even blink. It's constantly staring at you and recording, and you don't know how, and it doesn't give you any information back as to how you are being perceived.
Right.
And so it's this, what are people going to think? And like you said, the imposter syndrome and all. I mean, I know from my first one, well, let me say this, all our biggest fears come up for whatever reason when we get in front of the camera. And one is this idea of being stared at. But for me, my first time, my biggest fear, it was, what if I don't have anything to say? The imposter syndrome. And so, but what's so interesting, you become a self-fulfilling prophecy if you continue in that vein, or if you just step back and go, I'm never going to do that again. You go, nope, I'm going to practice. But my first one was, what if I don't have anything to say? So I get on and I'm like, oh my gosh, how do you do this? How do you just all the fears of, you're alone and you're live. It's not like you're in a production studio where people are like, okay, you're good, go. You're good. You're like, okay, what am I doing here? And so here I am talking. I thought I had my good points, like you. I don't even remember what I was talking about anymore, but I had my points. And 5 minutes into it, I had some troll message me, and she goes, "You've been speaking for 5 minutes and you've said nothing." And
wow.
Boom, my biggest fear just realized, because that's what I was projecting. And I was like, okay, thanks, bye. It was what I created it. And so I was like, okay, I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm going to have some tears, but I'm going to not let it stop me. So then I looked at her profile. No photo, no profile photo, just some flower or something. And then every single thing that she posted was a repost of someone else.
Oh, wow.
He had nothing to say. So in my fear, I was projecting something that she picked up on that then she had to throw back at me.
Yeah.
And so just know, then I thought, okay, that's something that I need to be aware of. What can I learn from that?
Yes.
How can I then overcome that? And then show that I have the confidence, because I have the confidence in what I'm talking about.
Oh, absolutely. I love what you said though about practice and preparation. I mean, that is, like for this, I've got my notes. I spent an hour, reviewing material on your website, reading up about, your magnetic presence, your system, your methodologies and all of that. It's like, you've got to show up prepared. You've got to show up prepared, because, even if you don't have a lot of practice doing all of this, showing up on camera, meeting with people, whatever, if you show up prepared, I do think that there's confidence in at least just, I know my stuff and we're going to get through it,
Right. And you can relax into that.
Right.
You can relax into it. And really it's about understanding the difference between being self-conscious and self-aware.
Ooh,
we can be self-conscious and just think about ourselves. Like you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm sweating and I've got, these hives or the redness is coming and I'm fearing that I have nothing to say. And that's being self-conscious.
Yeah.
When we can be self-aware and go, okay, I know my points. Who exactly am I speaking to? What lights me up? What do I know will help them? I'm going to sink into that. And then say, okay, let me just take a moment. I'm going to sink into that. Feels good. I feel confident in that. I'm relaxed. I'm at ease. How do I need to develop? How do I need to deliver that?
Yeah.
In a powerful way. And then and then you practice that, like that preparation and practice you just spoke about. That's what you practice on. And when those moments of self-criticism or self-doubt come in, you go, is that true?
Yeah.
Maybe, but I'm going to let that sit in the passenger seat. I'm the driver right now.
Right. And I also think too, you hit on this as well. And I was talking with a dear friend of mine on one of my past podcasts, who's really big into video. He's a big real estate broker here in North Texas, and he just uses video phenomenally.
Love it.
And I asked him, I was like, so what is your number one tip about talking on video? When he's doing all of his YouTube stuff and that kind of thing. He was like, I just talk to one person.
Exactly.
I think about who is the one person that this video is intended for, and I speak directly to that one person. And I think that's beautiful. And that's what you were saying as well too. It's just, when you're thinking, who needs my help? Who needs my expertise? It's not everybody. And it's darn sure not the trolls on the internet.
No,
for that matter. But
they bought the ticket to watch. They're not in they're not on stage.
That's right. But I love that. It's just, who's the one person that you're set out to help? Oh, so good.
No, I love that advice that he gave. And I so agree. It's that, because when you speak to that, there are two elements to that. When you speak to that one person, you can show up for that person as if they're right in front of you.
Yeah.
How do they interact with you? How are they responding? How do you know that this is going to serve them? And you get excited about that.
Yeah.
So there's that side of it.
Yeah.
But also just think about it. When we are watching videos on our phone, even if other people are around us, say we're on a bus or something, we're not going, hey, everybody watch this video. You're watching it in private, even though you might be in public, you're watching it in private.
Yeah.
So when you are speaking on camera to the video, understand that one person at a time is watching it. Thousands might be watching it at the same time, but they are consuming it by themselves. And so that's how you need to speak to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that relaxes you. You're not going, oh my gosh, how many millions are watching me? With like, oh my gosh, I don't know how many are. But then at the same time, on the flip side, look at the number and go, only 2 people are here. And then be wrapped up in the vanity numbers.
Yeah.
Nope, I'm talking to that one person, and we're going to go, and then I'm going to serve, and I'm going to go on to the next.
Right. Absolutely. I want to talk about how you incorporate human design into helping clients develop a visibility strategy that aligns with their personality. And I know that you have a person on your team who helps you with the actual assessment and understanding what human design is and walking them through that process. And myself, I'm a huge fan of self-awareness tools. I'm a DISC facilitator. I use DISC for my clients, helping them to be able to understand their communication styles and how they're going to best be able to communicate to their perfect clients as well too. But talk to me about, how do you use human design to help develop these visibility strategies for the clients that you serve? Definitely. What does that look like?
Well, it's human design, and also Enneagram, and just understanding if they're an introvert or extrovert. Because we so often can think, well, I've got to be this way in order to show up and to be visible and to be successful.
Yeah.
And then we find ourselves really feeling disjointed. Like, it's not really me. You and I kind of alluded to that in our conversation before. Is like, we can look back at videos from the past or different things, photos of ourselves, and go, well, that doesn't really look like me, or that, what happened, because we're trying to fit into something that we don't yet know how to fit into. And so, and then it's not right. Yeah. It's not in alignment. And so by utilizing these types of tools, these personality tools, we then can better understand ourselves to then go, oh, I don't have to try to be like that.
Yeah.
Be like this. I don't have to try to be the cheerleader on the video. And no, the way I speak, my personality, I'm much better at being, one-on-one. There's also other elements of like different styles of charisma, where if you understand what your personal type is, then you sit in that rather than trying to be the other thing. So, like as an introvert, you might be like, I'm really much better one-on-one with people. That's when I can really feel in my power. I'm calm and I can connect. All right, well then let's set up situations where you can communicate like that. Right. And also the style that you bring forward on camera, then that's what we're going to bring out. We're not going to try to make you into this, authority. Like, this is how I am, and I speak like this, when it's more about being warm and about being caring. Let's bring that out in you. Sit in that, develop that, because then you're also going to attract those people that are attracted to that. And then you can just be yourself.
Oh, 100%. I have worked with so many clients who, most of the clients that I serve are professional business owners, lawyers, commercial brokers, that kind of thing. Anyway, and a lot of the women that I work with are, they're very dominant personalities, get it done, not the warm and fuzzy necessarily. And so they look at, oh my gosh, I don't have that type of personality to do those cutesy videos. And I'm just not even wired that way. So I'm not even going to do it. And I'm like, oh, but we have to do video. Video has got to be a part of your marketing strategy. Right. If you're wanting to build a business in this world, it just is, but it has to be.
I want to give a little caveat to that. What an amazing opportunity.
Absolutely.
It can be, because we well, you have to do it. Well, if we can flip it and go, wait, it's free and we can use it and reach people all over the world. Okay. I guess I'll get onto that train.
Let's flip that narrative. Yes. But it's so interesting how so many clients come to me and are like, I can't do the silly stuff that, I don't have that level of energy, that kind of thing. And, I am such the type, it's like, okay, you've got to do what's going to feel best and be best for you, or A, you won't do it. And B, it's not going to sell either,
Right.
So anyway, I love how you incorporate, really aligning the visibility strategy with someone's personality, because not everybody's wired the same. They're just not,
And then we can develop a style for you that is so authentic and in such alignment that you just live it. And that's where that confidence and that calmness comes from, because you can walk into a situation going, this is who I am. I'm going to communicate with you with my expertise. I'm going to meet you in the middle. I'm going to understand how you communicate too, and how I can get, maybe motivate you or however, or inspire you.
Yeah.
With my knowledge, and be able to just relax into it, not trying to be something you're not, because you feel like you're supposed to be that way.
And again, that takes practice to do as well too.
Oh, yeah, completely.
Okay. So I'd love for you to share your top tips on how to magnetically captivate a room or a video screen. Give us as much scoop as you can give us.
Okay. Well, there are so many things. Well, one is, this is on stage, on screen, in person, for example, at a networking event, is decide that you belong in the room. Decide you belong there. And because how many times do we go to things and we're like, I don't know if I really fit in here.
I know. Oh my gosh.
I'm sitting at the table with all these executives. I don't know just decide if you were sitting there, you were meant to be there. So however you got there, you could think, oh, well, this is a fluke, or somehow I got in here, I got roped into this and I have no idea. I'm walking into this event, or I'm walking on stage with all the, on a panel with all these other experts. I don't know. Just decide, oh, no, I belong here. And in doing so, you will walk in going, yep, I'm not going to go, I don't know if I belong here, because people will respond to that.
Oh, they will. If you shrink, your audience will shrink. I mean, it's fast.
And if you just say, hey, you don't have to say, hey, everybody, I belong here. You just exude that energy. Yeah. People will think, oh, well, she does. I don't even know who she is, but she certainly belongs here.
There's your seat.
Yeah, exactly. And can you still hear me?
I can still hear you.
Okay, because my camera is frozen.
Yes, but I can still hear you.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to cut that out. And another thing that I would say is, this is a fun experiment for you to try. And it's about energetics. We talked about, that this part of executive presence is your energy that you bring. And so this is a fun thing to play with in any situation. But before you walk into a room, say it's a networking luncheon. Okay. So before, and all the tables are already set up, people are already in there mingling around, and you've signed yourself in at the table. And before you walk into that room though, take a moment to pause, breathe, collect yourself, ground yourself, decide you belong in that room that you're about to walk into. And one element that I love to think about is to think about your heart smiling. because so many times we can get nervous about, oh my gosh, who am I going to meet? Am I going to like, how am I going to interact? How am I going to introduce myself? How can I step into that? I'm here alone. I don't have my wing woman with me to help each other, communicate. So we get so wrapped up in that. But if you visualize, take a moment and just visualize your heart smiling, that automatically makes your face lighten up.
Yes.
Okay. So and you think, okay, I'm going to be open to the possibilities.
Yeah.
And you send that energy into the room, that intention before you walk in.
Yes.
You visualize, I'm expanding, and you walk in and see what happens. Because we have this electromagnetic current that our heart is literally like, it can literally reach out 15 feet from us. They can, with machines, measure that. So if you put that out, you will shift the energy of the room.
Yeah.
Oh, and so those are two things that I would definitely recommend trying out. And then you can also, I have a free resource to give you. I want to say about 15, 17 different tips.
It was
15. Okay. I was like, I can't remember. It's been a while since I created it. But a lot of great tips on how to command the room and the screen. And, when you're in person as well, or the room, the stage, and the screen. And so definitely I can share that with your audience, Heather.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, tell us, how can listeners connect with you? Give us your website, and I'll put it in the show notes as well too.
Okay.
But just tell us how listeners can learn more about you, your website, Instagram, wherever you hang out on social media.
Okay, great. Well, you can go to elizabethmoraes.com. So it's my name.com. And in the top tabs, it has the resources. So there's that one about how to command the room. And there's another one. It's a self-assessment tool for after you record yourself. So it helps you become more self-aware rather than self-conscious. Like, how was my pitch? How was my speed? And all of that. And how did things look? My clothing and all. And so it helps you assess yourself. So you can definitely go there.
Tool. That's awesome.
Thank you. And then I'm on Instagram. I am elizabethdemoraes.com. Sorry, not .com, but like Instagram.com/ I am Elizabeth Moraes.
Got it. All right. Well, we're going to link all of this in the show notes. And so it'll be there, but you've got to go grab the 15 tips. I mean, those are some great tips that you give out on your website. I mean, I've already I signed up last fall. I got it last fall. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me here today, Elizabeth. I am so grateful for your time and your expertise and your talent. And I love you sharing your energy with us today. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a complete honor. Thank you so much, Heather.
All right. Take care.
Bye.